Hi, this is Larry Johnson, and this is another in my series of video blogs on improving corporate culture. And today I want to talk about employee retention, holding on to the good ones. Last week we talked about a nursing home in Wauchula, Florida, where a woman named Mary Love took over that nursing home and reduced the turnover from 250% a year down to 17%. Now that's a whopping reduction. And her philosophy was you can retain more eagles, and she referred to eagles as her best employees. You retain more eagles by getting rid of your turkeys because eagles don't like to fly with turkeys. So that was kind of the lesson from last week's session. Today, I want to talk about another company that's one of my favorites. But before I do, let's talk about why it's so important to reduce turnover. And that has to do with the cost of turnover. According to Hewitt and Associates, and they're kind of one of the largest HR firms in the world, uh, average turnover costs to replace an employee that's left you is about 150% of that employee's salary. By the time you account for the recruitment and hiring and then bringing a person up to speed and putting them through training and living with the loss of production while you're trying to replace them, about 150% of salary. So you figure if you're paying somebody on the average $40,000 a year, 150% of that is 60,000. If you've got 100 employees and you've got a 10% turnover rate every year, it's costing you around $600,000 that you could spend, I think, more wisely. If nothing else, you could spend it on retaining the employees that are leaving you. My favorite company that I want to talk about tonight is New Belgium Brewery, and in Fort Collins, Colorado, and they make one of my favorite products, which is Fat Tire beer. And if you're a craft beer lover, you know about this product and how good it is. Now, it was founded in 1991 by Kim Jordan and her husband, Jeff LeBeche at the time. And in their kitchen, they just cooked up some beer and they liked it and they thought, we ought to sell this stuff. And so, like the American dream, they turned it into a profitable company. Now it's the fourth largest producer of craft beer in the U.S., the eighth largest overall beer producer in the U.S. They employ in excess of 650 employees. They distribute their beers to 38 states in the U.S., and they put out last year 914,063 barrels and produced $225 million in annual revenue. Now, that doesn't make them a Fortune 500 company, but it certainly makes them an American success story. And how do they do it? According to Kim Jordan, they give away a lot of good stuff to keep the good people, keep those keep those eagles, like anniversary milestone bonuses, free bike every after 1 year of working there. It's Fat Tire beer and it's based on a bicycle logo, and so they give away a bike, a really nice Fat Tire Cruiser at the end of a year, so everybody gets one. And since most of the people who work there are millennials and people who are sort of into health, it's the perfect present. After 5 years, you get a paid trip to Belgium to tour all the breweries in Belgium and see how the beer is made there. What an exciting deal. And after 10 years, you get a 4-week sabbatical. They also have full health insurance. And my favorite perk is that they have 12 free beers a week plus one after every shift. So if you're working 5 shifts, that's 17 beers a week. you can support a habit on that. But according to Kim Jordan, their co-founder, who, by the way, I met a few years ago when I was speaking with her at a conference up in Fort Collins, Colorado, and she was one of the keynoters, and chatted with her a little bit. And according to her, the real secret to their success is that we believe that our dedication to high involvement culture and a loving, high performance workforce sets us apart. We believe that the collective is stronger than the individual and that informed coworkers will make responsible decisions. So how does she make sure that happens? Well, she says back in the 90s, she read a book by Jack Stack called The Great Game of Business. And this is a terrific book, by the way, if you're looking for a good book to help you with your management skills and kind of change your philosophy on what really motivates people. Stack was owned a company called Springfield Remanufacturing, and he essentially turned the whole company over to the employees so that they were all partial owners. And then to make sure that they could manage the company well, along with him, he didn't step out of the picture. Um, he made sure that everybody was taught in the principles of business, and they all had to take accounting, and they all had to learn how the business worked from beginning to end. And then every quarter, he would share all the numbers with them and then take suggestions on what they could do to improve the bottom line. Well, he wrote a book about it, and Kim Jordan read this book and got so excited about it, she decided to implement it there at New Belgium Brewery. And the result? Well, according to Christine Perich, who's who took over as CEO in 2015, she says, if you ask people to think and act like owners, you need them to understand how the business runs. There's a lot of power in that. If you can teach people what drives the business, then you can get everyone heading in the same direction instead of guessing. Now, that they went along with that during their growing years and throughout the 90s and the early 2000s. And then by 2013, the employees owned 41% of the company. And then Kim made a kind of a startling announcement one of their biannual meetings. She said she was selling her 59% stake. A big gasp went through the group, and then somebody said, "To whom did you sell it?" And she said, "Look at the card in front of you." And they opened it up, and it said, "To you." And she had sold her entire stake to the employees. Now she stays on as the chairman and of the board, but the employees totally own this company. And the result, they have a 97% retention rate. You know, people don't quit when they go to work there. Now, I think they're pretty selective in who they pick, and they train them well. But according to Kim Jordan, the big thing is that they keep them informed on how the business is run, and they give them a piece of the action. So you can take that for what it's worth. I know if you're in government, maybe giving them a piece of the action is not in the cards, but certainly informing everybody as to how the business works, how the budget applies, what are the pros and cons of each action we do, and basically having a sort of a transparent operation for your employees just raises the odds they're going to be motivated. And then if you can give them a piece of the action, that's even better. Well, that's my thought for reducing turnover and increasing employee retention this year or this week. In future weeks, we'll talk about some other things you can do to keep those good employees and get rid of those turkeys. Nice talking to you. If you want to get a hold of me, please call me at 602-943-0985 or visit my website, www.larryjohnsonspeaker.com. Or email me, larry@larryjohnsonspeaker.com. And hope to see you next week and have a good one. Thanks.